5 flours you can use to replace wheat that won't cause blood sugar spikes or cancer. We all know that unfortunately wheat isn't just a staple of the American diet. The wheat is a part of many different traditional cuisines around the world. But have you ever wondered what happens when you can't eat this popular grain? Here's what you need to know. Anyone following a gluten-free or paleo diet knows that wheat isn't easy to replace in baked goods and that wheat-free products are often strange in texture or in taste. Don't worry, because it doesn't have to be that way. And you should also know that the success of wheat-free baking lies in the kind of flour you use. On wheat-free baking. Well, how should I start? I think that we all know that wheat contains gluten, which is a protein that helps dough rise and gives shape and a chewy texture to baked goods. Well, yes, and this type of protein is usually found in many grains including wheat, barley, rye, and a cross between wheat and rye called triticale. Many experts and nutritionists say that baking without gluten can be challenging because gluten contributes important properties to baked products like cookies, cakes, pastries, and breads. And instead of gluten, many gluten-free recipes rely on starch to improve the taste and texture of your food. Popular gluten-free flours are made from brown rice, fava beans, white beans, amaranth, potato, corn. Note: you should know that these options may be gluten-free, but unfortunately most aren't suitable for the paleo diet, which bans wheat and all other grains. The challenge of paleo baking. Here's what you need to know. First, you should know that the paleo diet mimics the eating habits of our ancestors in the Paleolithic period, between 2.5 million and 10,000 years ago. At this point in time, humans lived as hunter-gatherers and did not cultivate food. The paleo diet plant restricts the consumption of dairy, processed grains, legumes, and sugar. The paleo diet focuses on eating large quantities of meat as well as fruits, vegetables, and nuts. Note: you should know that following a daily paleo diet is already difficult on its own, but baking takes it to a whole other level. In this video we're going to show a list of 5 gluten-free and paleo perfect for baking. 1. Almond flour. Do you know what's almond flour? Well, that's easy to answer. Almond flour is made from ground up blanched almonds. It has a high protein content and a neutral taste, making it great for baking healthy goods. You should also know that the almond flour is high in monounsaturated fat and omega-6 fatty acids, which keeps your cookies and cakes moist. It's also lower in carbs than most gluten-free flours. 2. Coconut flour. Coconut flour. This type of flour is made of ground up coconut meat after it has been pressed for coconut milk. You should know that the coconut flour is very absorbent and it usually requires an equal amount of liquid to prevent your baked goods from getting too dry. Some recipes even call for the use of eggs or coconut oil to keep the batter moist. This type of flour has a high fiber content and relatively low carb content. It's a great way to sweeten baked goods and it's appropriate for diabetics to use. It can even lower LDL cholesterol levels and serum triglycerides. And due to its high fiber content, coconut flour isn't recommended to people with digestive issues such as SIBO or IBS. 3. Cassava flour. Do you know what's cassava flour? Well, first you should know that cassava is a root vegetable popular Africa, Asia, and Latin America. The cassava root is best known for being the origin of tapioca. What's tapioca? Tapioca is the bleached starch extracted from the cassava root. It's used in gluten-free baking as a thickening agent. In comparison, cassava flour is made from the whole roots and includes the fiber. This type of flour has a soft and powdery texture and a neutral flavor. It's typically used in the same proportions as wheat flour, except in recipes that require the use of yeast. People suffering from a latex allergy should avoid cassava as they can experience hypersensitivity to the food. 4. Chestnut flour. I think that we all know that chestnuts grow on trees and they contain lots of starch and low quantities of fat, unlike other nuts. You should also know that chestnuts are low in phytic acid, a compound in nuts which binds to essential nutrients and makes them unavailable. This type of flour contains high levels of vitamin C, B6, and folate, as well as potassium, manganese, and copper. Chestnut flour can be used to replace almond flour in a 1:1 ratio. 5. Tiger nuts. What are tiger nuts? Well, the tiger nuts are not nuts for sure. The tiger nuts are root vegetables that grow in northern Africa and the Mediterranean. They have a sweet flavor, so it's best to cut back on the sugar content of your recipe if you're using this flour. The tiger nuts are also full of gut-healthy fiber and resistant starch, which is prebiotic. Additionally, tiger nuts contain high levels of magnesium, potassium, and protein. Tiger nut flour is best used in combination with coconut and almond flour, but can be used in a 1:1 replacement ratio instead of wheat flour. We really hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to share it with your friends and family. Thank you and take care.